Hi, this is Diana and welcome to my kitchen. Today we are making a family favorite meatball sauce for spaghetti and meatballs. Now let's go over the sauce's ingredients. Okay, let's go over our ingredients for our meatball sauce. We have 4 28-ounce cans of crushed tomatoes, and then we're going to use 2 of the cans filled with water. We have 1 onion that we have chopped, and then we have 8 garlic cloves that we have chopped, 2 tablespoons of Italian seasoning, 2 tablespoons of sugar, a teaspoon of black pepper, and 6 tablespoons of olive oil. And then we're going to get this on the stove cooking, and then we'll come back and start the meatballs. So let's get over to the stove. Okay, let's get started. I'm going to turn my stove on to high, and we're going to put our oil in. And I like to throw in the garlic at the same time. That way it has some time to marinate into the oil before your oil gets too hot, and it kind of gives that nice garlic flavor to your oil. Before the oil gets, and it doesn't burn the garlic. Then once the oil gets hot, we're going to add our onions. It's almost there. Okay, now we're going to add our onions. And we want to cook these until they get just tender. Okay, now you can see that our onions are starting to get tender. So right about at this time, you want to throw in your pepper and your seasoning. This is a little trick of mine that we like to do, because you kind of cook those seasonings in with that onion. Oh, and you can already start smelling that beautiful flavor and beautiful smell of all those Italian seasonings. Now we're going to add our tomatoes. Okay, I'm stirring the onions and all the seasoning into the tomatoes that we just added to the sauce. Now I'm going to grab 2 of these cans and go get some water, and I'll be right back. Okay, now we have our water, so we're going to add that to our sauce. Looks so good already. And then we're going to stir it. And now what we're going to do is we're going to bring this to a boil, and then once it is brought to a boil, we're going to turn it down low and let it cook for 3 or 4 hours. Okay, I forgot to tell you about the sugar. We forgot to add the sugar, so let's add our sugar. And then, like I said, once this comes to a boil, we're going to turn it down to low, but you want to come back about every half hour and look at it and give it a little stir. Okay, now you see that our sauces come to a full boil. We're going to give it a stir, and then we're going to turn it down to about medium-low, just enough that it still has a little bit of the bubbling going on, but not a full boil. And so now that we got this going and we're going to let this cook, let's go over and get started for our meatballs. Okay, today we are making a basic meatball, 1 meat meatball. Sometimes we make a 3-meat meatball, which is veal, ground beef, and pork. But today we're just using the ground beef. So we have 2.5 pounds of ground beef. We have 1 onion finely chopped, 2 eggs, 1 cup of Italian breadcrumbs, a 1/2 cup of half and half or milk. We use 8 garlic cloves chopped and 1 tablespoon of Italian seasoning. And then we have a little secret ingredient that my son has brought into our lives, and he always adds about a 1/2 cup of Parmigiano-Reggiano cheese. So let's get mixing. I guess you call them dry ingredients. The onions first. And then your garlic. This way when you start mixing, of course I've washed my hands real good. And we're going to add the Italian seasoning. And then the Parmesan cheese. And then we're going to add a little pepper to your taste, kind of. Okay. And we're going to start mixing this. Oops. Now we're going to add, blend that in a little bit so it's kind of mixed in with your meat. See? Okay. Now we're going to put our milk in. Kind of want to mix sure all your wet ingredients in first, because in that way when you're putting your breadcrumbs, you'll know how much to add to your meat, how dry it is. Let's put in our egg. Okay, you can see how we've got this all blended together now. All the spices and the onions and our milk, and now we're going to add the breadcrumbs. And we're just going to add a little bit at a time. That way, as we see it blend together, we know how much to add. Sometimes a little less, sometimes a little bit more. So let's just put some of these breadcrumbs in here, and we're going to mix that together, because you want it to get to a consistency that it'll stick together when you start making your meatballs. Okay, now you can see that we've basically got our meat to the consistency that we want. And there's 3 ways you can cook these. You can cook these in a fry pan with oil. You can cook them in a bake sheet in the oven at 425 degrees, and then you just keep an eye on them and turn them every so often until they get brown. Or you can put them in a broiler and fry them basically but this way you're not using any grease. Now, my son and I are trying to cut down on a lot of oils and fat, so we've been doing under the broiler. And so let me get our pan, and we'll start rolling these and let you see how it looks. Okay, now we have our pan that we're going to broil these in. We're going to broil them. And so we're going to put a little bit of oil down on our pan, and we're going to brush it all over the pan. Or you can use olive oil spray, or any kind of a spray oil if you want, or you can use a paper towel to rub these around, but just spread some oil around so that we're not cooking it in too much oil. So there we go. I think that's great. Okay, so we have all the oil down on our pan. Now we're going to make our meatballs. And so you're going to, you can make them any size you want to. I happen to like them sort of medium. So you just kind of want to roll them, flat them, and then roll them to make them nice and firm. Take a little bit of meat, make it flat, and then start rolling it with your hands. Again, take a little bit of meat, kind of make it flat like that, then start rolling it into a ball. And it kind of brings them nice and firm together. Okay, as you can see, we have all of our meatballs rolled and ready in our pan, and we have some little small ones here. Well, those are my son's little taste testers he always likes to make when we are rolling our meat. So if you're going to fry these, you're going to put these in a hot oil, medium high, and you're going to make sure they're browned on all sides. If you're going to bake them, then you're going to put them in a 425-degree oven for about 20 minutes. Look at them. If they're brown on one side, take them out, turn them over, brown them on the other side for another 20 minutes. Now remember, they might not be all the way cooked through, but you don't have to worry about that because when you add them to your sauce, they will cook more through. We are going to put these in the broiler, so we will show you what they look like when they're browned on one side. Okay, we have our meatballs in the broiler, and you want to keep an eye on them. It'll probably take about 5 or 10 minutes, but you do want to keep an eye on them. And we'll bring them out and show you when they're brown. Okay, our meat's brown on the top. Richard, can you zoom in and show them how the meat should look? Okay, now we're going to turn them over and we're going to get them back under the broiler. Now you can see our meatballs are done, so we want to get them off the hot tray so that they don't all this grease, and we're going to put them in our bowl here so the grease doesn't stick to them. Well, our sauce has been cooking for about 3 hours, and as you can see, it's gotten thicker, and so I think it's time to get the meatballs in. And let's add these, and now we're going to let it cook at least another hour more with the meatballs. Okay, our meatballs have been in here for about an hour, and so we can turn off our heat. They're going to be really good tonight, but you know what? Tomorrow they're even going to be better. But let's dish them up and try some. Well, our meatball sauce is done, and I've put it over some linguine with a little Parmigiano-Reggiano on top of it. And of course, you can put it over any of your favorite pastas. So let's give it a try. Let's grab a little meatball, a little sauce, and a little bit of that linguine. Meatballs are so tender that they're just breaking up on me. Well, it's delicious. Well, I hope you enjoyed your time in my kitchen. And I hope you would try the meatball sauce recipe. Now remember to give us a thumbs up, comment me, and subscribe. And the recipe will be in the sub bar below. Bye.
Hi guys, as always, I put 3 videos up top. Give it a click, it'll take you to that video. And then there's that subscribe button, the Make My Mommy Smile button. Please give it a click, and we'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.